Students, how are you? Welcome back once again, students. Once again, I'm here to teach you from your Beehive book, and today I'll be teaching you another poetry, that is poetry number 2, Wind. Alright? So let's start. Students, before starting the explanation, let me tell you about the poet first of all, Subramanya Bharati. He has written this poetry, this wonderful poetry. He's a very great Tamil poet and he is famous for his patriotism in the pre-independence era. And this poetry has been translated from the Tamil by A.K. Ramanujan in English. Students, he was born on 11 December 1882 and he died on 11 September 1921. And now let me tell you about A.K. Ramanujan also. He's a Kannada and English poet, well known for his translation of classical and modern poetry, students. He used to write and translate as well. He was a very good translator. He was born on 16th March 1929 at Mysore in India and he died on 13th July 1993 at Chicago in Illinois, United States. He had a total lifespan of 64 years. Let me give you the introduction of the poem first of all, then I'll be starting the explanation. So students, as we all know that wind is a natural phenomenon, alright, and in this poem the poet talks to the wind. The power of wind has been described and the poet says that wind is destructive. Yes students, you are hearing me right. The poet is saying that the wind is destructive. He has linked the destructive power of wind to the adversities of life. Alright, all the problems that we face in life, he has linked the wind to the adversities of life, and he says that the weak people break down but stronger people emerge out of adversities stronger. They come out of the situation without being panicked. Okay, and the poem gives an important message that we should be mentally tough and physically strong in order to survive the hardships of life. Okay, we should not be panicked, we should be strong enough to come out of the difficult situations of life. He's also saying that a weak person breaks down like a weak building and crumbles. We must make these destructive forces our friends with our strength and determination. Hope the idea, the message behind this poetry is clear to all of you. Now let me tell you about the summary of the poem first of all. The first part of the poem describes the action of the wind. The poet asks the wind to come softly. He requests the wind not to break the shutters of the windows, not to scatter the papers and throw down the books from the shelf. But the wind throws the books and tears the pages. So here the poet says that the wind makes a mockery of weaklings. It brings down frail houses, crumbling doors, rafters and even weak hearts. It crushes everything that is weak. The poet advises us to be very, very strong. Only then we can save ourselves from the wind. We should build strong homes with firm doors. Our bodies and hearts should also be strong. It is the way of the world to kick the weak and to be friends with the strong. Here students, the wind blows out the weak fires but makes the strong fires roar and flourish. Thus the poem conveys the idea that nobody cares for the weak. Even the wind is on the side of the strong people. We must make ourselves strong to become successful and overcome the challenges in life. So we have to be very, very determined. We should learn how to cope up with the challenges of life rather than being panicked. We should learn how to cope with it and come out of that troublesome situation and be strong enough rather than being weak. The very first stanza, it's written, wind, come softly, don't break the shutters of the windows, don't scatter the papers, don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Students, poking fun meaning is making fun of something. And weaklings meaning is a person who is weak. Okay, so students, in this stanza, the poet is talking to the wind. He asks the wind to come softly, softly. Okay, so he is saying that the wind should not be very strong, loud. Okay, it should be soft and subtle. Then he says that the wind is very powerful, it is destructive. It breaks the shutters of windows and scatters the papers. When the wind is very powerful, all the books which are kept on the shelf, they fall down. Okay, so here the poet is describing the power of the wind. Then he says to the wind to look at the destruction that it had done.
Whenever there is a strong wind, all the things that are weak, like small plants, tiny children, etc., they all get scared. Yes, they all get scared, and students, they can even fall and get hurt. So we can say that in the initial part of the poem, the poet is referring to wind as a young child. Okay, he is saying that it should come softly, just like a small child does. So in the later part, we come to know that the wind is destructive, just like a youth. Okay, just like a young boy or a young girl who is full of energy, violence, and destruction. Hope it is clear to you. If there is any confusion, you can ask me as well. Let's move on to the next stanza. It's written, frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. Students, crumbling meaning here is falling or to cause something to break. And rafter meaning is sloping beam which support the roof of the building. Alright, so students, here the word crumbling is repeated so many times to lay stress that everything crumbles in the face of a strong wind. So the writer is saying that when wind is very powerful, it is very, very strong, and it leads to breakage of everything. Houses which are weak fall, doors which are weak, they fall, the beams on which the roof of the buildings are supported, they also fall, all the wooden structures fall, and all bodies of people fall, animals, lives, hearts. So he is saying that everything crumbles, everything that is weak reacts by falling down and breaking in the face of adversity. So students, the poet is saying that whenever a weak person faces any adversity or challenges in life, he breaks down and falls. Hope it is clear to you. This next line is written, the wind god winnows and crushes them all. Winnows meaning is to broke grain free of chaff, separate grain from husk by blowing on it. You can see the picture also in the poetry. The picture is given. Two ladies are there. They are separating grain from husk by blowing on it. This process is called winnowing. Okay, so students, the poet is addressing to wind as wind god. Okay, and he is saying that the powerful god of wind winnows. That means he shifts all the people, and those people who are weak fall down and get crushed. So here a comparison is made between wheat and people. You can see a comparison has been made between wheat and people, just like we winnow the wheat to separate the grain from chaff. Similarly, students, the wind god separates the strong people from the weak people. When there is a strong wind, all the things that are weak fall and get crushed. Here poetic device has been used that I'll be telling you after completing the poetry. Hope it is clear to you. Students, let's see the next line. It's written, he won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. Because steadfast meaning is firm. Okay. So students, the poet wants us to make friends with the wind. That is the adversities in our lives. He says that the problems will not listen to us. They will come. So we should be prepared for it. In preparation, we should build strong homes and close the doors of our house firmly so that the wind cannot get into. Alright. And then he says that we should also make our bodies strong and hearts firm to face these challenges. We should be ready. We should be very much prepared to face it. And then once we are strong enough, all the challenges will be like friends. We will not feel that they are troublesome. We will be ready because our mind will be ready that yes, this situation will come. So how we have to tackle that will be there in our mind. So we need not to panic. We should be firm. We should have a strong willpower so that we can easily defeat it. Alright, hope it is clear to you without any confusion. Let's move ahead to the next. It's written, the wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. Students, flourish meaning is grow. So here the poet has kept the wind on a pedestal. He is comparing the wind to God. He says that wind is God and we praise wind every day. Okay, he also says that he adds that everything that is weak gets finished off in the face of the strong wind, and all the things that are strong flourish and grow to become stronger. He is giving us a very important message, students, that we should not feel bad that we are facing so many challenges and adversities in life. We should make ourselves physically and mentally strong to face these challenges. And once we are strong enough, we will overcome the challenges and we will become friends with them, and then we will be happy that we had these challenges in our life because they help us become stronger and better. Hope it is clear to you. So through this poetry, the poet is telling all of us to be very, very strong. We need not to get panic in a troublesome situation. We should learn how to be ready. We should be prepared prior. We should face a problem with utmost sincerity, and we should learn how to cope with it and come out of that troublesome situation. Hope it is clear to all of you.
Students, now we all will be learning the poetic devices that have been used in this poetry. And I really hope that now you all know why poets use poetic devices in the poetry, just to make it more beautiful, just to make it more attractive, more fascinating. Alright, let's check out what all poetic devices have been used here.
Students, in this poem there is no rhyming scheme. The entire poem is written in free verse. There is no rhyme scheme in the poem, and the next literary devices that are used are as follows. Let me tell you. The very first one is anaphora. When a word is repeated at the start of two or more consecutive lines, this is the device of anaphora. So you can see line number 2, 3, 4, they begin with don't, and line number 6, 7, 8 begin with you. So this is anaphora. Next poetic device that has been used here is repetition. Repetition is used in the poem by the poets to emphasize something. You can see here the word crumbling is repeated many times just to lay emphasis. So the poet wants to say that the wind crushes everything that is weak. That is why he repeats the word crumbling. Poetic device is alliteration, that is repetition of a consonant sound at the starting of two or more consecutive words. So here you can see the word wind, winnows, won't, want. Here W sound is prominent. That is why the poetic device alliteration has been used. The next poetic device is personification. Wind has been personified. When the poet says you are, he is referring to wind as you. That means he is treating wind as a person. That is why the poetic device personification has been used when we give human quality to a non-living thing or any inanimate object. Hope it is clear to you. Last poetic device that has been used here is symbolism. Symbolism means that the thing refers to some other thing. Okay, so here students, wind is a symbol. It refers to the challenges in life. Okay, he is using wind as a symbol for the adversities in life. That is why the poetic device symbolism has been used here.
So students, that was all from my side. Hope you all have understood this poetry very, very well. If you have got any queries regarding anything, you can contact me as well. So students, best of luck for your studies. Study well, stay safe, stay home. Best of luck for your studies, and thank you very much for watching my video.